when I say title, I'm referring to both the title and the subtitle. So it's going to include both of those. So first of all, why isn't a great title enough? Well, something that is creative and clear won't necessarily lead people to actually check out the book if it doesn't speak to your target reader and their specific emotional needs, and it doesn't stand out among the competition. So, for instance, let's say I have a book. I'm assuming if you're listening to this, you're an author or self-published author. Say I have a book called How to Sell More Books. Okay. Well, is that a clear title? Does it have a specific benefit? Sure. But are you like, a 9 or a 10 out of a 10, like in terms of excitement about checking out that book? Well, when I've asked a lot of authors that, they're not that excited by that book title. Why? I mean, isn't that what you want, to learn how to sell more books? Well, the problem is it's generic, first of all. What makes that any different than all the other books about how to, sell books? What if a person has a concern that maybe that book's not going to work for me because I have limited finances? And yeah, sure, you might have a book on how to sell more books, but if it's talking about spending a bunch of money on advertising, maybe it's not going to work. So if the book was instead how to sell more books without spending a dime on advertising, now you've gotten more specific and clear and can start to speak to some emotional needs. So you can see this is why certain book titles like How to Lose Fat, it's just like, it's not going to work because there's too much competition and you're not addressing some of these emotional needs, and especially won't stand out among the competition. So titles got to answer these questions. What will you get? This is nonfiction we're talking about. So how will you benefit from it? Who is this for? Who's the target reader? Quick note, everyone or anyone are not answers for a target reader, okay? Just because everyone can benefit from your book, you want to be somewhat specific with who you're trying to reach. And then what makes this different among all the other books that are talking about a similar topic? So here's the boring title litmus test. Would I stop to check this out in a bookstore? Or would your target audience stop to check it out in the bookstore? If the answer is no, then you might want to do some more work, okay? Another test is what I call the cute or overly creative title litmus test. So I see sometimes authors have these titles that only really make sense to them as the author, and it's super creative. But if I hear the title, I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that's about. So if you were to tell it to a stranger, you ask, would I know who to recommend this to? Okay. I'll give you an example of actually a good book title. It's called, an example I'll give later, Manology. Secrets of Your Man's Mind Revealed. That works because the subtitle says Secrets of Your Man's Mind Revealed. I know that that's a book for women that want to understand men. But if the title was simply called Manology and it didn't have a clarifying subtitle, I would hear that title and I'd have no idea what it's about or who it's for. And, it wouldn't work unless there was that clarification. So you want to be careful about overly creative titles. And if you do have a creative title, make sure the subtitle offers some clarification. The best way to learn this, and this means even after you go through the presentation, you're going to want to do this, is through experiential learning. As Jim Rohn says, you can't hire someone else to do your push-ups for you. Well, when it comes to learning the skills of creating good book titles and marketing and all this sort of stuff, you still have to practice it. And you still have to go through the experience. And what that experience is visiting a bookstore, browsing sections in both your niche and outside of it, and seeing what grabs your attention. Now, I'm not going to get real deep into this, but basically we remember things that we have an emotional connection with. So if I go to a bookstore and I see a book title that grabs my attention, I'm excited, I'm like, oh my God, I have to check out that book. Then I had an emotional experience based off of the book title. And I remember that. Then I can stop and go, what was it about that title that made me stop in my tracks, look at it, pull it off the shelf, and go, I want to learn more about that book. I need to actually go through that experience to really understand this. And you're kind of going to get that. You'll definitely get that experience as I go through this presentation, but I only have so much time with you. Okay. And so the more you can do this on your own, the deeper the impact of the lesson will be. And at the same time, besides going into a physical bookstore, of course, you can get on Amazon or any of the online bookstores, browse the books in your category, see what grabs your attention, notice the common themes among them. And also study what other successful self-published authors do. Obviously, study all authors and successful people, but self-published authors in particular are great to learn from, because if you're a self-published author, they're the most relatable. They have probably some of the similar challenges and obstacles to overcome that you have. And if they've been successful, they're some of the best people to learn from.